from the Voodoo Barbecue, 2740 Severn, right off Veterans. It's time for WHNO TV's Prep Recruiting Insider. Hello everybody, I'm Ken Berthelot, along with Renee Nato, the old sportscaster and former LSU football player, and we're here to bring you information on some of the area's top recruits. Every week, Renee scurries through games and reviews, newspaper accounts, online accounts, and finds out exactly what these young players are doing so that we can bring you the latest each week right here. And Renee, I know you have reordered your top 25 and you're very excited about what you have.
Well, you know, we're going in the tail end of the season, final 3 games. A lot of players are on the cusp a little bit. Recruiting have kind of moved into the limelight. Good seasons personally and good seasons for the team. So it's interesting how some players have moved up in the recruiting process.
Well, let's take a look at Renee's top 25 and we'll count them down from number 25 right to number 1. Let's start with 25 is Brandon Porter from John Curtis moving up.
He's a player who can play both sides of the ball, heading to San Diego State. Excellent cornerback. He can play running back as well. Quinlan Carroll is a guy that out of Bell Chase, excellent player. Jay Washington is a player that we're going to talk about out of St. Paul's. Has done a great job as a safety. And here's a good look at him right here, Kenny. He's a guy that's got great range, finds the ball quickly. Jay is a guy that is committed to McNeese. He's had offers. He's about 6'2", 185, and a good St. Paul defense. They do a good job over there. Start of the season kind of slow. They've really gained some ground, and you see from the safety spot, he locates the ball very well. Covers sideline to sideline, comes up, does a good job of filling for the run. A hard hitter. He's about 185, could probably play about 195 or 200, but he's got a good nose for the ball, squares his shoulders, tackles well, runs through the ball carrier. And you know, he's also lined up as a wide receiver in some situations. What a tackle there as he separates the receiver from the ball. So Jay Washington is a guy who's headed to McNeese, and I think he's a really good find for the Cowboys.
And we continue right on with Carlos Henderson from McDonough 35.
Explosive. He's 5'11", 175, about a 4.4 40, and I believe it. He looks like everyone is standing in cement when he runs past him. Is committed to Utah, will probably play cornerback. Eldrick Washington, Helen Cox is heading to Tulane.
Taking a look from 16 through 20, there's Ethan Carter from Rummel.
He could be a fullback, H-back, tight end. Got good hands blocker. Ed Duplessis is a guy that St. Paul's had a big week last week with 14 tackles, 2 tackles for loss, a sack, in a 35-0 win over Slidell. Ed Duplessis is a guy that has gained a lot of attention. He has offers from North Texas, UL Monroe, Memphis, Southeastern, McNeese, South Alabama, Kansas State, Georgia Tech, Mississippi State, TCU, and Tulane are interested in a 6'3", 215-pound outside linebacker. You can see he locates the ball very well, tackles well in space, Kenny. He'll play at about 230 or 235. He has the frame. Wow, what a collision tackler. Squares his shoulders. Again, he runs sideline to sideline. Good tackler around the ankles right there. He's a good pass rush specialist.
And then we look right through the remainder there, including Devin Scott and Brandon Godfrey from John Curtis.
Brandon Godfrey is a guy who committed to Tulane, has played well, very, very well for John Curtis, and he's playing tackle right now. May play guard or center, but he's very skilled to play all line positions.
Taking a look at your top 15, Ed Williams and Sherman, Badie, Eugene Brazeley.
Draper Riley out of West Jefferson, a tight end. Big tight end, 6'4", good hands. And Duke Riley out of John Curtis is a linebacker that plays very, very well, finds the ball well. Good pass defense skills, has an interception to his credit.
And Sherman, Badie, and Duke Riley will both be guests on this show in just a little while. You'll hear from 2 of 3, those 2 of 3 Curtis guests, including Coach J.T. Curtis. The top 10 starts with Damian Williams from Rummel.
Damian Williams is a guy who's not getting a lot of love, if you will, right now, but a quarterback that is leading the #1 ranked Rummel Raiders, about 6'1", 215, got a good arm, good athlete, but someone's going to get a find, and we talk about him all the time. He's very much like a Munchie Legault who's at Cincinnati, or even Danny Wimprine, who played at John Curtis, had a great career at Memphis.
Solomon and Perry Walker, West Jeff, all having good seasons based on some of the players that you see right here on the board.
Ronald Lewis, a guy who's going to Arizona State. Ryan Hofield is committed to Florida State out of Brother Martin. He's a tackle. Really, he's had a nasty streak in him. He's a good blocker. He finishes his blocks. He takes a lot of pride in what he does. He's playing tackle right now, but he'll play center for Jimbo Fisher. He committed to Florida State. He's about 278 right now, Kenny, but he'll play about 290 to 295. He's a technician. He squares his shoulders, got good knee bend. He plays snap to whistle to whistle, good football IQ, and he pancake blocks. He does a good job of knocking this guy out and runs down a field. He's got good feet. He runs real well as a tackle, and you got a good look at him right there. Ryan Hofield, Brother Martin.
And taking a look at your top 5, it starts with a young man from Edna Carr, Standish Dobar.
Standish Dobar, tight end. He's headed to Miami. He's averaging about 12 yards a catch. Doesn't have a lot of catches. He blocks very well. He's headed to Miami right now, Kenny. The interesting thing is, it depends how the sanctions will be if he will have if he'll stay to his commitment to the Miami Hurricanes, but he will be a good find for the Canes if he does follow through with that. Standish Dobard is a tight end for the undefeated Carr Cougars.
Kenneth Santa Marina, you watched him play this week.
6'7", 335. He's still teetering on where he wants to go to school. 6'7", 335. You can't teach size. He runs very well, good knee bend, finishes his blocks, and that down to 35 has done well following the blocks of Kenneth Santa Marina.
Then Ellis, Falcons, and Jefferson rounded up.
Ricky Jefferson, a Destrehan, plays both sides of the ball. He'll probably play cornerback at LSU. He's a wide receiver. He's a game changer, doing a good job for Stephen Robichaux.
And look, as good as these young men are, you still get sometimes excited about the class right behind them.
Well, you know, and the thing is that top 25, they're interchangeable. You know, you got guys in there, could be number 10, could be number 1, and that type of thing. This is an outstanding class, and yes, 2014, wow, the talent coming out of this area. Out of my top 20 in the state, 13, I have them coming out of the metro area. What a great class 2014 is going to be, following the heels of 2013.
Right back with some Curtis Patriots after this from the Voodoo Barbecue on Severn in Metairie. Welcome back to the Voodoo Barbecue, 2740 Severn, the best barbecue in Metairie, in New Orleans, in southeast Louisiana. Ken Berthelot and Renee Nadeau, and our guest in this segment is the second all-time winningest high school coach in high school football history, Coach J.T. Curtis of John Curtis, and his junior linebacker, Kenny Young. Coach, pleasure to have you and Kenny on the show, and congratulations on just another undefeated season that Curtis is off to this year at 7-0.
Well, thank you for having us, and it's obviously a good year to this point. We've got to continue moving in that direction. We're 7-0, and we've got some other games to play before we get ready for the playoffs. But right now, I'm pleased with the progress of the team. I think that we're advancing the way we want to. We're developing good depth in our lineup. So we feel like that we're on the right track. The key is to stay focused, to continue to improve week to week.
Almost every coach we talk to, opposing coach, says in JT's 44 years of coaching, this is probably one of his best teams that he has ever produced at John Curtis. Now, how would you rate this team with all of the great teams, the 24 state champions you have had?
Well, you know, they've got to prove through the state championship the kind of team that they are, and that's what it really comes down to. It's a good football team, and unfortunately that's not enough. You've got to have so many intangibles that go to bring you to the opportunity to compete for a state championship and then win one. And I think this team has the focus. I think they have the ability. Now they've got to go out and do the task that's at hand. They've played well to this point. They practice hard. I think it's a dedicated group of kids. I've had very, very little trouble or difficulty through the season, anticipate none. So if we stay focused, I think we have a chance to compete for a state championship, and that's what our goal is when we start out at the beginning of the year.
JT, you know, something that's impressive is your offense puts up great numbers and gets the credit, justifiably so, but I don't know if people realize what kind of defense you're giving up. You're relinquishing about 4 points a game, which is not easy in the competition that you're playing. 2A might be the best in the state. 2A and 4A. Your defense really doesn't get the love they deserve.
Well, you know, our defense runs really well. And anytime you can not give up big plays, it gives you a great opportunity to win the game. And that's what's happened at this point. They've had some completions, but we've been able to break on the ball. Open field tackling has been good. Get them on the ground, make them line up and play again. If you can eliminate those 50 and 60-yard runs and keep them to 8 to 10-yard runs, then the advantage goes to you. And that's what our defense brings to the table. And I think that we play a physical type of football. We're going to run the ball, and when we get there, we're going to be in a bad humor, and we're going to hit you and get you on the ground. And hopefully that continuation of that play after play leads to us to have a chance to get a victory.
Now, you've always had good linebackers going back over the years, and you got one with you here today. He's a junior, Kenny Young. Great future, about 6'2", about 215. He's getting a lot of interest from a lot of schools, the LSUs, the Alabamas, and Kenny, we're glad to have you with us. First of all, what do you feel like is your strength as a linebacker?
Well, I think my strength would be, first run. I like to read the plays, because that's the most important thing about it. And once I read with the plays, you have a nose for the ball and an instinct to just attack the ball and try to be the first man to make the play.
Well, you got about a 4.6 40. Looking at you on the hoof, you're a good basketball player, which also helps your overall skills. Alabama, LSU, Florida, a lot of schools, Michigan are looking at you. Have had an offer from Ole Miss. What are you kind of looking at, Kenny, in the recruiting process? What are you looking in a school? Is it a situation that you want to get it out the way, the recruiting process, or you want to kind of go through the business and make sure, wait to the last minute? What's the recruiting process going for you?
Yes, I'll definitely see how the process comes along, you know what I'm saying? Like, I want to visit all my colleges. I don't have any favorites yet, and wherever I fit in best. Atmosphere, coaches starting early, and, a great place for my parents to send me to college, off to college, you know what I'm saying? And represent for that college.
Now, it make a difference to you if you play across the country, or as far as playing close to home for your family? Will that make a difference?
No, not really. Wherever I fit in best. Is it a couple of hours away, or is it close to home? I really have no say-so on how far I want to be away from home. It doesn't matter.
Now, as a junior, you said a number of schools looking at you. What do you think of the recruiting process so far? Has it been what you expected?
It's coming along slowly, you know what I'm saying? It'll take time, but, I just have to stay focused on what I have to do as an individual to help my team progress as we go throughout the season. And, as things come, just, adjust to it.
Now, is there a situation where the recruiting process, you kind of put it on the back burner during the season? I know JT is a great help to you. A lot of seniors are being recruited, and the history of Curtis has had a lot of players going to college. Do you kind of put it on the back burner a little bit, Kenny, during the season?
Not really, that's something to pay attention to, have your parents involved and your coaches involved, like Coach JT. But, I keep a heads up on recruiting and try to stay focused at the same time, balance my, my focus on recruiting and on what I have to do as a goal for the team as well.
Kenny, you guys play for a coach who is revered by many, many people. As a team, as an individual player, how do you feel about wanting to win, not only for yourselves and for John Curtis as a team, but for the man sitting next to you, Coach JT Curtis?
Coach JT is a good guy, you know what I'm saying? He teaches me a lot of things in football, and as an individual, I try to apply it on the football field and in life as well, because, what he teaches us is right. And we go out and work hard each and every day at practice, and we just go out and go after it more than any team, I think, in United States, you know what I'm saying? So he does a great job as a coach, and I just try to take that from what he's given me and apply it to my team and to me to help my team, work on another state championship this year.
When you're looking at a school to go to, Kenny, is it a defensive scheme will play a role in that? So if a school plays a 3-4 or a 4-3, will that play into it at all?
Not really. I just want to go in where, I'll start as soon as possible and feel comfortable with the defense, you know what I'm saying? And now I have no problem with defense, what package we're going for John Curtis football, whatever it is, I just adjust to it. But when I go to college, it doesn't matter what defense I'm in. I just like to, I just want to fit in the defense.
JT, what advice do you give to the young players, and the seniors too, but especially the juniors, even the sophomores, when some of them have the talent that they're going to be looked at by major colleges very early in their high school careers?
Well, recruiting's dramatically changed in the last 5 years, and now the recruiting process has started so much sooner than it has in the past. And so I think the key for them is to keep their head about them and to realize that This process will only take place if they perform on the field. Probably the biggest misnomer in college athletics is that it's a game. It's not a game, it's a business. Running through the goalposts is for the fans. The hard work, the dedication, the long hours, the months and months that you spend in training in preparation for 11 or 12 games is just, it's enormous. And so they've got to make a good decision about where they're going to be comfortable educationally, where they're going to be comfortable socially, and where they're going to be comfortable athletically. And as you know, it's a volatile game. People change positions, coaches get hired, coaches get fired. So we want them to make a decision for the right reason and to make sure that regardless of where they go, it's a place they're going to be able to get their degree, they're going to graduate, and they're going to have an opportunity to be successful as a person. And if they do that, then they can make a good decision. The last thing I would tell them, and what I tell Kenny and what I tell any young man, is that all this can go away if you don't perform. And I've been very fortunate through the years to have guys that stay very focused. And our coaches do a good job of keeping them focused on the task at hand, and that is to perform for your team and at the same time perform the best you can for yourself. And those two things are not opposite of each other. They go and they fit together. And when they do that, then the recruiting will take care of itself.
You know, something we talked about earlier, JT, was 2A in the state of Louisiana has been, this is probably one of the most competitive years I can recall. There won't be any winners or losers, just survivors to get to the dome.
No question about that. It's probably 1 through 10 as good as it's been. And when you look at Evangel, Calvary, University High, Lorville High School, these are teams that can all compete with anybody.
All right, our guest right now, Coach J.T. Curtis of John Curtis, and Kenny Young, his junior linebacker. We will take a break in just a moment, and we'll come back with 2 senior Curtis players I think you'll want to talk to. Right after this, from the Voodoo Barbecue, 2740 Severn. Ooh, the turkey, ooh, the pork, the barbecue, the best ever. Welcome back to the Voodoo Barbecue, 2740 Severn here in Metairie, the best barbecue anywhere in Southeast Louisiana. Ken Berthelot along with Renee Nadeau and 2 more player guests from the John Curtis Patriots. Many say one of the best teams that J.T. Curtis has ever put on the field in his 44 years of coaching. Sitting immediately next to Renee Nadeau is Sherman Badie, the 5'11", 210-pound senior running back who has really impressed a lot of college recruits this year. And sitting next to Sherman on the end is linebacker Duke Riley, 6'2", 215 senior. Most coaches will say when they're making their offensive game plans against John Curtis, they want to run the ball wherever Duke Riley is not. And that's a pretty good compliment right there. So Duke, let's start with you. Congratulations on the year you all are having at John Curtis. Super year, and for you as a recruiter, all the schools in the nation are looking at you going, wow, we like this guy. How has the recruiting process been for you? Has it been everything you expected it to be?
Yes, sir. It's been really good. I'm just taking my time right now and enjoying the process, and probably want to make my decision towards signing day. You know, I want to take all 5 of my official visits so that my decision is what I really want. You know, and that's right.
Well, you get a lot of attention from the Ole Miss, Mississippi State, a lot of schools around the country. Exactly what are you looking for, Duke? Is the scheme? Is it a, I was saying to Kenny Young earlier, 3-4-4-3. Would that make a difference? What exactly are you looking for in a school on the defense?
Just basically where I can fit in perfectly. You know, what I mean, I'm just trying to go to the school that helps me the best on and off the field, and early playing time will help.
Well, you've been working out at Sonic Boom, and I know you're 40 right now. You've run a sub 4.5 40, pretty good for your size. You have the skills to possibly play like a monster or strong safety. I mean, you're just not a linebacker. I know you took one pass to the interception to the house a few weeks ago, so you got great pass coverage skills.
Oh yes, sir. I mean, when I go train by Wyatt, I just work on. I mean, I don't just work on linebacker drills. I also do DB drills, so I work on my footwork and my speed and my agility a lot. So that's just, you know.
Boom.
You found the ball pretty quickly, and that's the one thing, you break down. Good open field tackle. I've been impressed by your blitz package. You come here through the A-gap and get the quarterback. So you've got some good skills that you bring to a college program that, you're a pretty polished product before you get there. Again, what have you been hearing from the recruits that's kind of impressed you? I mean, is there anything that a school in particular, as far as distance goes, will that play into the role at all? How far, a school from the West Coast recruiting you, would that make a difference?
I mean, it's always good to stay close to home, but if a school on the West Coast or up north has a better chance for me to play earlier, and just make good early playing time, make a big impact earlier, that'll be good also. So distance really doesn't matter. I mean, it's also good to get away,
Sherman, Badie, at the beginning of the year, I know a lot of smaller schools were looking at you, but you've had some big runs, some big plays, and suddenly you've got some BCS schools that are going, hold up, we need to take another look. That's got to be pretty impressive. How's the recruiting process been for you so far?
I mean, it's been going good. I mean, just been staying focused and working hard with my teammates and just staying open with all schools.
The thing that JT has told me, and maybe he didn't share this with you, but two guys who came through the same halls that you did went on to the NFL, Chris Howard and Joe McKnight. JT tells me you got a little bit of both of those guys, and that impresses me because both those guys played not only as a good runner, both receiver and good blocker.
And that brought a smile to his face, Renee.
Yeah, I got to think that, and having you seen you play, Sherman, you take a lot of pride in your blocking and your pass receiving skills.
Yes, sir.
Is that something that comes naturally or something you have to work on?
I mean, it's something we relentlessly work on at practice and just constantly work at it until we get it right and can just work until we can't go anymore.
You get some attention from SEC schools. Talk about some of the schools that have knocked on your door so far.
I mean, so far I've been hearing from Ole Miss, I've been hearing a little from LSU and Auburn. I mean, it has been good. I mean, just staying focused, keep working with my team.
Now, you ran a 4.38 at LSU camp. Not just LSU, but a lot of college programs have multiple backs. Would that kind of have you shy away from a program that already has 3 or 4 backs there?
I mean, it could, but at the same time, I'm just running about somewhere where I can go, stand out, fit perfectly with the offense, and just hopefully play early.
The move, the burst of speed, the strength just now. Very impressive.
Thank you.
And the thing is, good is now is
once you turn it on.
John Curtis has done something that hasn't done in the past, and you flashed some really outstanding receiving skills. That's something that John Curtis was foreign to the damn throwing the ball in the air. And you got so many great weapons with yourself, Malachi, and so many other guys, Tevin Horton. I mean, you have some good receivers, both as running backs and receivers.
Yes, sir.
So is that kind of something you glad that Curtis has opened up a little bit with the pass?
Yes, I mean, I'm feel good with it because I know everyone knows and thinks Curtis is all running power, but I mean, then we open up with passes and show them that the running back can also make plays in the open field and have receiving yards also.
Have you given any thought to, are you starting to pare down the schools that you're looking at now?
Not really, sir. I'm just staying open, staying focused with my team, and hopefully take all 5 of my official visits.
Duke, are you starting to kind of pare things down now for schools? Maybe getting your top 5, top 10?
I mean, they have a number of 5 schools that's recruiting me the hardest right now. I mean, they have, I'm talking to Ole Miss every week, TCU, I'm talking a lot to LSU, Tulane a lot, and Mississippi State a lot. So those 5 have been recruiting me the hardest right now.
Well, guys, we want to thank you all for taking time to visit with us today. Best of luck to you, Sherman Badie and Duke Riley, and the John Curtis Patriots the rest of the way as you go for the school's 25th state championship in the Dome later this year. Best of luck on that march to the Superdome.
Thank you.
All right, we want to thank all of our Curtis guests today, including Kenny Young and Coach JT Curtis. And Renee and I will be back in just a moment. We are at the Voodoo Barbecue, 2740 Severn. Best barbecue in Southeast Louisiana. You've got to visit right here. We are at the Voodoo Barbecue, 2740 Severn, the best barbecue anywhere, not just Southeast Louisiana, anywhere. It's time to take a look at our prep polls. Renee, this is one segment of the show that I really like because we kind of see how schools are doing and if anybody's slipping or picking it up. And you know what, this week, nobody slipped. Nobody slipped last week. This is the Sports NOLA .com polls. Kenny Trahan and his repertoire of sportscasters select this, of which Renee Nadeau is one. And here is the 5A state poll. You're looking at it right here. No surprise, Rummel undefeated, still at the very top. They are at Chalmette this week. So on paper, you expect them to move forward. And Jesuit, number 3, has got Brother Martin.
And Jesuit also keeps winning over. They would have win over Franklinton. That was a big win. St. Paul's. You got some teams that are moving up and down, but really Rummel is the chalk right now.
At number 9, South Lafourche. 3 years ago, we did a big feature on the coaching staff there, building a program. They now have climbed up into our top 10, undefeated. That program coming around really strong. That's our 5A top 10 poll. Let's move on to 4A, where Neville just continues to be Neville at 7-0 after an easy win over Bastrop.
And Carr is a team that is giving up 4 points a game defensively.
Wait, say that again?
4 points a game defensively.
Wow.
Perry Walker, their defense has only allowed 8 points. 8 points throughout the entire season. So what a stout, when those two meet up in 3 weeks, Kenny, what a battle that's going to be.
Carr's got Shaw. Perry Walker's got Del Chase this week. Going to be a lot of fun. And then you look at Salmon at number 6, and Salmon will be at Lakeshore this week. They had a big win over Hammond last week after the win over St. Paul. So 2 nice wins by Salmon. And don't forget Holy Cross and St. Augustine, Jeff, in this class. Hey, they still are teams to be reckoned with. Let's take a look at 3A. And in 3A, well, there's Parkview Baptist. They beat Baker and continue undefeated on top at 6-0.
And St. Charles Catholic under Frank Monica 4-2, and they've done a great job coming back from Hurricane Isaac and really put a great season together in the home stretch. Here, 3 games remaining.
Yeah, struggled early, but that's because of Hurricane Isaac. They're at Brusley, and Frank Monica's got them winning ever since. Look out, St. Charles Catholic is back. In 2A, well, Curtis is Curtis. We say it every week, and they just continue to roll. They had an open week, and now they're coming back and left. Now they've got I believe Clark and South Plaquemine. That's who they got left. Open week coming up.
They got Plaquemine looming, and that is going to be quite a battle. South Plaquemine and John Curtis Calvary and Evangel. Winfield is a team that plays very well defensively with Michael Patterson and South Plaquemine. Carver and Newman, some local schools that have really shown they can play with the big boys.
Hey, and don't forget Calvary Baptist and Evangel. I believe they meet this week, so that's going to be a showdown. And Riverside's at Carver, and St. Thomas Aquinas not on the board, and North Lake Christian not on the board. Play each other. The winner might climb into the top 10 next week because you got to keep a close eye on both of those teams. In 1A, Washita Christian rolling and undefeated at the very top.
And the Roos of Kentwood doing a good job as well. Hannon is a school to keep an eye on. Haynesville, I should say, keep an eye on them. 5-2 right now. West St. John, the Rams, they played some big boys early on, but that is a team that has a chance to get to the Dome.
You know, usually we look at matchups and we're sort of talking about the matchups inside the big poll. Let's take a look at some of the key performances, players that maybe we don't get a chance to talk to because the school isn't undefeated, but we have some individuals who are turning in some great performances, and we want to recognize some of these players now. Carlos
Henderson, I viewed the Shaw game last week. He had 4 touchdowns, 151 total yards in a 34-21 win over Shaw. He is committed to Utah. He'll play cornerback there, but 5'11", 175, flashing 4.35 speed as Carlos Henderson. O'Para Walker defense.
You talked about their defense.
Man, Kenny, 8 points a game defensively they're giving up. Anthony Thomas, De La Salle has done a great job under first-year coach Ryan Manali. They're now 3-3 in District 10 3A. And he had a great job last week, 182 yards, and Jabbar Singleton, 167 yards running behind that offensive line of Brother Martin. They had a big win last week and against Chalmette, so Brother Martin is back on the rebound.
And we haven't had a chance to talk much about De La Salle and Brother Martin, so glad we could get him on. A few more outstanding performances right here, and it starts out with Crescent City.
And what a great job Josh Insorti did. 291 yards rushing, averaging over 17 yards and 3 touchdowns. Eugene Wells runs that potent East Jefferson offense. He did a great job, 4 touchdowns. James Tabery, a junior out of Holy Cross, 310 yards, 91.5% completion, Kenny, and 5 touchdowns. And Speedy Knoll runs that potent Carr offense. He had 5 carries for 56 yards. He also threw the ball and caught the ball well. He is a total package.
Well, and you go back and look at James Tavery from Holy Cross, Renee, and I think he really came on his own, and you could see him improving every week, but when Holy Cross beat St. Aug earlier in the year, everybody's eyes opened up and said, Holy Cross may have found a leader for the future.
And he's got good mechanics. He comes over the top. He's about 6 feet, 190, but he's getting better every week, as you just said, Kenny. And the thing is that he put up some really good numbers with 5 touchdowns last week, 310 yards. He's only getting better, and Barry Wilson and the staff at Holy Cross are very excited about that junior quarterback.
I just really like the opportunity that we have here to recognize some of the young kids, especially some of the kids at smaller schools that we don't get an opportunity to talk about. They turn in outstanding performances, and even though maybe a BCS school might not be looking at them, they're going to play somewhere, and it's good that we can recognize them.
And it's good, especially Josh Insardi out of Crescent City. 291 yards. That was a great, outstanding effort in that big win over Ridgewood last week. And Crescent City is not the kind of school, it was their first win of the season. It's not the kind of school maybe that gets a lot of state attention, Kenny, but Crescent City has been in the playoffs in the past, and they have a chance to bounce back in the thick of things.
Well, when we come back, we'll have our Coach of the Week and our Player of the Week. All of that on the Prep Recruiting Insider. We are at the Voodoo Barbecue, 2740 Severn. Oh, the barbecue is unbelievable. We are back at the Voodoo Barbecue, 2740 Severn, right off Veterans, between Veterans and the I-10 Service Road. This is the place you got to be for the absolute best atmosphere and best barbecue anywhere in Southeast Louisiana. Ken Berthelot, Renee Nadeau, and this is the Max Home New Bath Player of the Week and Coach of the Week segment. Larry Kloss, the CEO, owner, and president of Max Home New Bath, not with us today. He is traveling because this being a recruiting show, he is out recruiting for his business. So we'll take care of the business for him and then remind you why he wants you to call and inquire about not only Max Home New Bath and what they can service and do for you, but also some positions he's recruiting for in Southeast Louisiana. So Renee, who is our Max Home New Bath Player of the Week?
Leonard Fournette, 6 touchdowns. St. Aug last week, he had 16 carries, 129 yards, two kickoff returns against Warren Easton, and a big win over Warren Easton, 60-8 win. And you can see him taking back a big touchdown run right here. This is a guy that's 6'1", 230 pounds. So this is not some 5'10", 175-pound running back. A touchdown on a kickoff. Leonard Fournette, he can do it all. He runs, blocks, catches passes, and here he is again.
Squibbit to keep it away from him? No, it doesn't matter, Renee.
And
look
again,
at that.
You're looking at a guy who has a sub 4.5 40, being looked at by everybody in the world, and what a great catch he's going to be. Only a junior,
yes,
was an all-state performer as a senior, as a freshman.
How many people are going to want this young man? How many BCS schools are going to want this young man? Goodness gracious, he's got the package. 1,900
yards his freshman year, Kenny, and right now Alabama, LSU, Florida, West Virginia, Texas A&M, Texas, Tennessee, Notre Dame, Michigan, Florida State, and Georgia Tech are among his suitors. But he is the total package. They even got him playing linebacker. He's that tough, and he could be a linebacker on the next level if he decided to concentrate on that position.
All right, let's have our Max Home New Bath Coach of the Week. Renee, who is our Coach of the Week?
Jay Roth, who's done it year in and year out, and he's in his 18th season, undefeated and #1 in the state rankings, and of course Rummel beat previous ranked, 9th ranked West Jefferson 40-9, holding West Jefferson to 224 yards and just 11 first downs. A very potent West Jefferson attack. Rummel still has Chalmette Jesuit, Brother Martin, still in the way of an undefeated season, and they are a team that certainly can be in the Superdome for the final week of the season.
Well, congratulations to Coach Jay Roth and his Rummel Raiders. And of course, this being a recruiting show, we want to remind you that if Larry Kloss, the president and CEO of Max Home New Bath, was here, he'd be telling you he is recruiting for the following positions and wants you to be aware of them, including the events marketers, canvas marketers, customer service, and customer service is the big one. He calls it the make people happy position. Remember, Max Home New Bath is, and just call that number or go to www.newbath.com on the web and you'll get information on how to apply. Remember, Max Home New Bath is your local company. They care about you, we care about them. When you do business with them, you're staying local with people who do care about you. We thank Max Home New Bath for sponsoring our Coach and Player of the Week. We'll be back to Voodoo Barbecue. Ooh, look at those St. Louis style ribs. Isn't that good? Back in a moment. Welcome back to the Prep Recruiting Insider at the Voodoo Barbecue, 2740 Severn, right off Veterans here in Metairie. Ken Berthelot and Renee Nadeau. And our special guest on this legend segment is a man who played at East St. John, football, of course. Then he was recruited by the SEC, signed with Major League Baseball, ended up playing all the way up to AA, came back to the SEC, played for one of the biggest name coaches you ever want to hear, and it wasn't in the state of Louisiana. And when he was finished there, went on to the National Football League and played with 2 different teams. Folks, if you don't know who that is, it's a good friend of Renee Nadeau, our good friend and guest on this show, Thomas Pittman. Thomas, thank you so much for being with us as a guest.
Thank you guys for having me.
And I'll tell you what, that's not the usual career path of most athletes. You didn't take the easy road, did you? You took the road less traveled.
It was difficult, but I will say it was a blessing. Playing football and baseball on a professional level, it was great. All my dreams were fulfilled.
Now, you're the older brother, and this is one of my favorite guys here, man. I've done high school games when he was at East St. John, played under Lou Valden.
Yes, correct.
But he signed with Auburn, and I'm going to let him take it from here. Signed with Auburn. He was going to play in the SEC at Auburn. Winds up signing with the Montreal Expos because he was such a big hitting first baseman. Goes to AA, as you said, Kenny. And then a contract situation, comes back, plays for Steve Spurrier at Florida.
Right.
Only because because Nick Saban said you couldn't play at LSU. You wanted to play, you wanted to play with your brother. Kirsten would have been there too. Take us a little bit through the process, how you got to be in the major leagues and then the NFL.
Actually, as we know, I excelled both in baseball and football in high school, and I was a baseball player in a football body. Let's just say that. And I did well. Let's see, in '97, I got drafted in baseball. And from there, I played 5 years with the Montreal Expos. I signed with Auburn out of high school to play football, but never made it to campus. Signed with the Expos in '97, played 5 years. Ended up signing with the University of Florida to play football in 2000. And after baseball was over, that actually, my football career actually took off from there.
Now you had a chance to go. You had a chance to go to LSU, but Nick Saban spotted you on the campus of East St. John and said we can't touch you because you're not eligible. But yet Steve Spurrier saw you and offered. How did that work out? How was Florida?
Correct. Actually, I was at East St. John working out doing my baseball off season, and Coach Saban was there recruiting one of the players there, Roydell Williams, to be exact. One of the receivers from East St. John played at Tulane. And I saw Coach Saban. We sat down outside for a little while and talked about basically me playing football again, which, rung a bell a little bit, light went on. And ended up, after a couple of conversations, I was told by him that the NCAA had me under restrictions, that I couldn't be recruited, because of the contract dispute and things like that, as far as with the NCAA. Ended up going back to spring training, and I met with Coach Spurrier. I ended up meeting with Coach Spurrier, and he was like, they said, we can offer you a scholarship. So I was like, fine. I was in West Palm Beach playing spring training, and from there, it was closer. I would have went to LSU, basically. I'd have been a Tiger, but because of the little restrictions supposedly that they had, I ended up going to Florida.
Now, you were a baseball player in a football player's body. So Spurrier had to do something very special, especially since at the time Saban at LSU pulled back. What did he do to get you to go there? How was what was his magic?
Basically, talking to Coach Spurrier. Actually, that was one of my 5 official visits, Florida and LSU. And I think basically it was me being in Florida, knowing what to expect in Florida, the weather and things like that. Being away for a while, LSU would have been a great choice as far as me coming back home. So it was always in my mind to be a Tiger. And during the time, me being in Florida with spring training, Florida was right there, and I was comfortable with the campus. I've been there before, and it just was Coach Spurrier.
You played in the Sugar Bowl. Tell us what position, excuse me, you're a D lineman, but tell us some of the players you played with. Jesse Palmer and Rex Grossman, some of the other guys, your Gator teammates.
Oh man, that year, basically, like I said, Rex Grossman, Jesse Palmer, Jabbar Gaffney, Riche Caldwell, all those NFL guys. Defensively, Courtney Brown, if you remember that guy from Penn State, Gerard Warren, he's been in the NFL for a number of years. Alex Brown, we all played there together.
Unbelievable. Now, how tough was it a transition? Stone, because that's his nickname, Stone. Go from Major League Baseball, all of a sudden you're in the NFL playing for the Cleveland Browns. How tough was that?
The biggest thing was my body transitioning my body, have to put on weight. And it really didn't take me a long time to put on weight, but getting to it, leaving baseball at about 245, 250 pounds. Now, when I left high school, I was 280. So when I first got drafted in baseball, they had put me on a weight program. They wanted me to, get down to a certain weight to play baseball in the Florida heat because I had to go to spring training every year, which was in West Palm Beach. And that was the biggest thing I really dealt with, transitioning my body, putting on weight, losing weight, just trying, basically being able to compete, at different levels.
How would you best describe the minor league baseball experience?
If you heard one story, you heard them all. The minor leagues, I would say you're paying your dues. It's long bus rides. You got 15, 16-hour bus rides, and you got a game at 12. You hear the stories about minor leagues. You got to get used to it.
It was enough to get you back in football.
Yes.
Now, how tough was it, and who's some of the players you played with the Cleveland Browns? How tough was it, and what kind of memories do you have playing in the NFL?
Oh man, NFL, basically, like I said, one of my dreams, different life than baseball. You have to basically, transition your body, transition your mind. Baseball, you're more free, it's more of an individual sport. Football, you have training camp, 2-a-days, getting up, 5, 6 in the morning, basically, and you're dealing with guys your size, your size, and, just dealing with the dog days or 2-a-days, things like that.
Now, you've been through the recruiting process, and of course, Kirsten is his younger brother. Kirsten has got 2 BCS championship rings. What advice would you give, looking at a camera, on what a young man, a young lady for that matter, going through the recruiting process, what should they look for and what should they be aware of?
The biggest thing that I learned during the recruiting process was to make up your own mind. Make that decision fast. Don't let it linger on because it can stress you out as a kid. And make your decision and stick with it, and just have fun. That's the biggest thing. I always have fun in baseball and football. I always have fun. And that's the biggest thing I say. Just have fun in what you do.
Thomas Pittman, thank you for being our guest, Renee and I's guest on the Prep Recruiting Insider, and best of luck to you, okay?
I appreciate it, thank you.
All righty, Thomas Pittman, the pride of East St. John, there's no doubt about it. We'll be back to wrap up today's Prep Recruiting Insider right after this from the Voodoo Barbecue, 2740 Severn, right here in Metairie. The Voodoo Barbecue and Grill, 2740 Severn. It's right off Veterans, between Veterans and the I-10 Service Road. St. Louis style ribs, some of the best barbecue ever, anywhere. you'll get it right here at the Voodoo Barbecue and Grill. And goodness, I am so happy we are here with the Prep Recruiting Insider Show this week. I also want to remind everybody that every Monday we have Sports NOLA TV on WHNO TV 20. Ken Trahan is the host, and he always has with him Torrance Small, former New Orleans Saints, got a Super Bowl ring with the New England Patriots, and former NFL beat writer Brian Alley Walsh, who is a columnist along with Renee Nadeau on SportsNOLA.com. And as I like to say, they have the second most fun anybody can have doing television, because Renee and I have the most fun right here in Prep Recruiting Insider. But they have a guest each week, and they talk about, wrap up the Saints, LSU, Tulane, and high school from the weekend. And then Prep Recruiting Insider, like us on Facebook, and we'll keep you up to date with everything that's happening, who are the guests, and who's coming up in the next couple of weeks, because Renee and I try to keep you informed and at least be able to see who some of these top recruits are. And Renee, I would just have a lot of fun. You put so much work into this show. Appreciate what you do. And I hope our audience, our viewing audience, enjoys seeing the video and the statistics on some of these young men who are being recruited by BCS and non-BCS schools.
Well, we got some big recruits coming next week. We got McDonough 35 going to be in-house next week. We're going to be visiting with Wayne Reese, Talman Gardner, who played for Florida State, McDonough 35, and the New Orleans Saints will be with us as a legend. We got some big-time recruits coming from McDonough 35. The following week, Edna Carr will be in the house at Jabbar Jaluk with a loaded team he has, so you do not want to miss the upcoming weeks for this show.
I'm going to make sure all of our guests get here early so that they can eat before Renee gets to the table, because I'd like there to be some left for all of our recruits. That's going to wrap it up on this edition of the Prep Recruiting Insider. I want to thank you for being with us from the Voodoo Barbecue and Grill, 2740 Severn. And for our entire WHNO TV 20 crew, our guest, and Renee Nadeau, I'm Ken Berthelot. Thanks for being with us, and we'll see you next week.